Okay, so we've been talking about sustainability, صح? And what is the name of the initiative that organized this conference? SYS, short for what? Saudi Youth for Sustainability. ممتاز. So we're talking about sustainability on a national level. Our next keynote will tell us what does it mean to be sustainable as a nation. I welcome to the stage Dr. Najah Ashri, and this session is moderated by Thana Qurashi. Please help me welcome them.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Please join me to welcome the Vice President of Strategic National Advancement and the Senior Associate to the President, and she'll be talking today about sustainability as a nation, and please join me to welcome her again.
السلام عليكم جميعاً. مساء الخير وأهلاً بكم في جامعتكم جامعة الملك عبد الله. وجوه أليفة ووجوه نتطلع أنها تكون أليفة في المستقبل، وفي الواقع ما في شيء يعطيني أنا شخصياً، وأنا أعتقد الجميع في مجال التعليم، غير أننا نكون في حدث صنع بأيدي شباب وشابات طموحين، ويضم شابات وشباب طموحين المواهب اليافعة والواعدة للمملكة العربية السعودية. فمهما يكون عددنا قليل اليوم، ولكن بيننا حيحصل تأثير قوي جدا، أنا متأكدة من هذا الشيء، ما عندي أدنى شك. أقول هذا الكلام عن تجربة، عن خبرة، عن معرفة، عن دراية، إنه ما في شخص يضع جزء من روحه، من نفسه، من وقته في مشروع معين لإيمانه فيه إلا وينجح إن شاء الله بعون الله تعالى. والناس كلها هنا متطوعة، كلهم متطوعين، والناس اللي هنا اليوم كلها ناس وضعت وقتها إنها تحضر برنامج، إنها تستثمر في نفسها. فأنا متأكدة إنه إن شاء الله الناتج حيكون شيء جميل لنا جميعا. حياكم الله في الجامعة. قررت اليوم هحول إنجليزي، قررت اليوم إن نتكلم عن sustainability for a nation. National level, sustainability from a national level. Specifically, I think it's so easy when we speak about sustainability to think of environmental sustainability, to think of issues related to water, to poverty, to food security. It's easier to lean towards the nature when we talk about sustainability, especially in a university like ours, where we do research in areas related to the sustainability of our planet, to the sustainability of our lifestyle, to the sustainability of the natural resources. However, there are other faces for sustainability that are very important for us as a nation and for us as humans, individuals, that are very important to talk about. Today, I chose to speak about a very specific topic, the changing demographics in the kingdom and how that will have a positive impact on sustainability for us as a nation. So the two aspects of the changing demographics, or one big aspect of the changing demographics, is basically the youth. The youth. We are a nation of predominantly young individuals, predominantly. We're made about 70% of Saudi Arabia are 34 or younger. That's amazing. That's a huge demographic shift in the country that will impact everything that we do. The idea is, those young people are not just there. They're there with a specific agenda, just because they're a specific generation that has been exposed to so many things and has been living in such a changing environment, including COVID, by the way. So these generations will have tremendous impact. So my thesis is very simple. The changing demographics in Saudi Arabia will impact sustainability for us as a nation in a truly positive way. So you see some statistics there, amazing. We're a nation of young individuals. Those young people are excited about every aspect, or are active in every aspect of the SDGs, every aspect. They have access to technology, they have access to knowledge that is basically parallel to none in history. They are very much about gaining information, gathering information, and about making an impact on social media. There is a bit of statistics at the bottom that's quite interesting. So basically, we're number one globally in YouTube consumption per capita. Number one globally. We watch YouTube for different reasons. Imagine that the reasons there, I can guarantee you there are the good and the bad and the ugly, but there are the good. And that's what I'm focusing on here. So 72 minutes versus 16 minutes for those who are considered youth and those who are in the second, close to them. Not that 34 and above are not youthful, they are, but this is basically 72 minutes, specifically talks about a group of individuals that what we consider the main resource for our nation. It's a very different type of Saudi Arabia because of those young people. They're more health, social, environmental, and conscious. Health, social, from every aspect. There is that consciousness, the collective consciousness that we feel it, we see it, we experience it everywhere we go. If it's in Saudi Arabia, if it's in Riyadh, if it's in Jeddah, if it's in remote areas that were normally or on an, I would say, used to be considered remote areas, and now they're basically part of this movement, part of the harak, the transformation that's happening in the kingdom. And this holistic transformation that's happening, again, leads me to conclude that this is the heart of where the sustainability of the kingdom lies. It's in the youth and the changing in the changes that are happening there. So one of the things that we have noticed is this basically the pursuit of a world-class education. When I used to travel about 13 years ago, perhaps 12, 13 years ago, to recruit students, Saudi students for KAUST, for this university. So basically we'd go to places like Australia, the US, the UK, different places to recruit Saudi students. And what struck me then wasn't the transformation that's happening for the people who are pursuing the degrees. What struck me, their children. They're basically, if it's a mother who's pursuing her degree or if it's a father, it's not them themselves, but this upcoming generation. So we have basically changed the demographics since we started the scholarship program. But currently, I would say every single individual, including those in this room today, every single Saudi in this room today, has pursued some form of international education, including being here today. So I'm not talking necessarily about a degree, but it's not a full degree, but it could be a micro-credential type of pursuit. But definitely, people are pursuing education at a pace, international, global level, world class, at a pace that is also have not been seen before. I would say this number at the bottom will be exceeded quite quickly before even we hit the target for the 2030. I am almost certain that we will reach that number as a nation before 2030, which is the 70,000 number of Saudi students in the top 200 institutes worldwide. The gender integration is another component of our sustainability as a nation. So we have this young generation, these young people who are basically very much aware of what's happening. But gender integration is something that only Saudi Arabia can do well. Why? Because the gap is so huge between where women were and where we want them to be. This huge gap means we have an opportunity as a nation to chart the path for female integration, to draw the picture. How do we want women to be part of our society, our leadership, if it's a governmental, in businesses, even in tech, in innovation? How do you want to do it? So we do have an advantage. The gap is big, but the advantage is that we can basically borrow from best practices, we can learn from mistakes, we can learn from lessons that other nations have gone through, which is a great time to be. And also, again, if you look at the bottom statistic there, the 30% in the workforce participation, this was supposed to happen in 2030. We have achieved that already. So that definitely tells you a story that how integration will happen and will happen well in the country. Another item is our socially conscious youth. You being here, the formation of the Saudi Youth for Sustainability, all of this tells you a story of how our people, our young people, are very much motivated by leaving an impact, by having an impact, by leaving a print on the society, not only on the society, but definitely on their surrounding the society, but definitely on the globe at large. And it's something that we see in activities like volunteering and the number of people who volunteer. Environmentally conscious youth, That's something that we also have seen an increasing level of participation in activities that leads to an improvement for our a better treatment of our environment. Definitely businesses are taking a look at that, and they realize that the young generations, Generation Z and others, are very much focused about doing good for the environment. And that means that businesses have to change their practices to accommodate the newcomers. Health conscious, I have a statistics here at the bottom there, where we know that our young generations, people like you and younger, are much more focused on health. I'm not saying that we are beyond our behavior and our habits in the Saudi society, but definitely we have generations that are much more aware about their actions in terms of consumptions, in terms of movement, in terms of the need for well-being, being part of our daily programs, basically. Innovation and entrepreneurship is another aspect that shows us the importance of our youth in changing the sustainability of the nation. In the past, when we talk about innovation, it was really very limited. The idea that people not only can dream, but they can make their dreams come true. Not only they can imagine, but they can imagine in a way that impacts reality. That hasn't really been a great focus in the past. I think now more than any time before, this has become a reality. If you don't succeed now, if you're someone with big ideas, with big visions, who lacks the opportunity, if you don't succeed now, there are no better time in the future. This is the golden opportunity. And we see young people taking advantage of that in every walks of life. We definitely at KAUST, we're providing the platform for our women and for Saudi women, for Saudi youth to be part of this movement, to be part of making this impact for the kingdom. From different programs that we have, and I don't want to go through this, but we do have programs that help in the capacity building, to our thought leadership, where we stand in front of the world as a country with a composition of the population composition mainly made of you guys, of people who are basically represent the kingdom everywhere, from the COP 2060, which is basically the United Nations main area for talking about climate change and climate action, to other items like where we have our women, for example, training women for leadership positions, not only in the kingdom but beyond. Of course, we have some strategic initiatives here and there that also represent a platform for young people to share their ideas. For example, in KAUST Challenge, it's a very simple idea. You basically crowdsource ideas to address specific challenges. It's a whole KAUST Challenge was made to motivate the youth in the kingdom to be part of the entrepreneurship activity, the innovation movement in the country, and to give them the incentive to do it, to give them the place to imagine and to make things happen. When you talk about the kingdom, definitely there is an example there for the other nations. There is no doubt in my mind, again, I say this with all confidence, that what's happening in the kingdom now has not been paralleled anywhere in the world. And the fact that we are a nation that is building every aspect, transforming every aspect of its reality to be more sustainable, to really be supportive of the planet at large, including building this university, is something that is testament to what's happening in the kingdom. And there are some examples about empowering the youth, but also investing in sustainability at scale. So for a country like Saudi Arabia to speak about net zero by 2060, that's a huge commitment. We're talking about changes not only in the way we consume things, but the way we manufacture, the way we utilize, the way we implement. Every aspect of what we do has to be reevaluated. So I think this would be a major stepping stone for the kingdom, but definitely it shows where the kingdom is in terms of investing for the future. Timeline, this is very difficult to read, I know, but definitely it shows from 2016 the number of initiatives that have been created. And we're talking about global size initiatives in the kingdom it's a move towards sustainability. It's a move towards truly adopting sustainability at every aspect. As I was saying, it's a whole systems approach to sustainability. So it doesn't, I think one of the biggest challenge is that you need every part of the system to act together to reach the sustainability for a nation. This is an interesting slide that I wanted to share. It's basically the kingdom. Where is the kingdom in terms of sustainability? We don't rank very high, but this is something that happened before all of the activities that happened in terms of sustainability. But if you look at the third number there, the spillover score. The spillover score, it means that if this country did something positive in terms of sustainability, other nations around us would actually gain from our move. So we're very high in the spillover. كيف نقدر نأثر على اللي حوالينا. So the spillover impact is significantly high for a nation that's 96 when it comes to world ranking. When it comes to global ranking. So definitely there is something there to talk about the power of Saudi Arabia, the soft power, as well as its regional strength and weight. And it's very clear in this slide. The 96 is something that all organizations within the kingdom are taking very seriously. How can we move that up so we're better as a nation? And I'm sure that in the next time when this happens, and this reading will happen, we will have a very, very different rank because of all the initiatives that I've shown in the slide before. That's it. This is what I wanted to share, just a bit of, as I said, a very simple message that the changing demographics in the country is basically sustainability for a nation, for our nation, is fueled by the changing demographics in our country. The gender integration, the youth taking a stance, and the youth making a statement for the nation in terms of what they want to do and how they want to do it. And I thank you very much. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Dr. Najah, for such an inspiring talk.
Thank you. It's up to you. But we can go in English as well. It's up to you. It's up to you. English is fine.
So the first question, I think, is what everyone is thinking about, is what are the challenges facing the country, facing Saudi Arabia, on an individual and institutional level?
So if I want to speak about the challenges for the kingdom, I would say for the kingdom to reach sustainability and a better ranking when it comes to measurement, I would say that we have to have organization at a subnational level, organizations like CAUS, big organizations taking to heart the sustainability agenda, understanding what sustainability means and acting on that understanding. I would say very simply, to do a simple act towards sustainability. It takes significant changes of behavior and significant changes of how we do things and how we consume, how we act. So one aspect is the understanding of the sustainability agenda and how to implement it. Secondly is the interaction among different entities, because it's a system. Any country is a system of organizations and entities, and to change the sustainability meter in the country has to have all the players working together. So that's a very important part. So players understanding their role, players working together, and finally data. And data is a massive issue for us in the country, and it's a massive issue for any organization. If we ask our own sustainability office, ask them what's the one challenge that your number one challenge in terms of looking at CAUST and its sustainability, work in sustainability, the answer would be collecting data, ensuring that people record data, ensuring the integrity of the data, and ensuring that whatever you're doing, you're recording, and whatever you're recording is reflect what you're doing, and whatever you're recording is actually, so measuring, reporting, reviewing. So data would be the third challenge, I would say. From a personal level, it's a different story. From a personal level, sustainability is a tough goal to have. If you want to be someone who, for example, adapt reduced waste or a zero waste kind of program in your life, think about all the waste you generated since you started this morning. Just think about all the waste you, on a personal level, have generated since you started this morning. So sustainability, it's about reducing our consumption. It's about consuming things that are not harmful to the environment in terms of recycling. It's about reduce, recycle, reuse. All of these aspects are part of sustainability, right? So if we just adopt the idea of reduced or zero waste as individuals, it means that we change every aspect of what we do. So instead of going for the convenience, for tearing individually wrapped item, for example, my example was basically if someone was serving me dates in an airplane and the dates are not individually wrapped, I wouldn't take it. It's just something. But if it's individually wrapped, it's much more convenient and much more comforting for me to take one that is individually wrapped in plastic. However, I'm producing waste. So it means on a personal level, it's a challenge. It means napkins, you think about napkins, but you will think about packaging of food that you buy. It means how do you use your car if you use a car. It's everything that around you. So from an individual level, I would say identifying where you can make an impact, where you can have an impact, and really committing to one act on a daily basis that actually can make an impact on the long term on you as an individual and the print that you will leave. If it's hand, foot, whatever print that you would leave, and making sure that this is something you adapt to. So the challenge is about understanding your impact, understanding your footprint, understanding what you leave, but also understanding how you can control it without impacting the system, the ecosystem at large, because every change impacts the whole ecosystem.
I think this is a really important point that you just raised. So for everyone, I would like to give you a homework. So when you go through your life, your daily life, just think, can I replace this with a more sustainable option? Just with picking a coffee cup or anything, just think about the sustainable alternative and do it. So you touched on the gender equity that is a goal in the UN Sustainability Development Goals. And there is this common misconception about women performance as employees. Now, they are usually seen as rigid and not as flexible as their male colleagues. And that leads to not including them in leadership roles and being excluded from a lot of opportunities that they are pretty much fit to do it. What would you like to say about that?
A lot. So I think there's, I would say it's a misconception in a way that's slightly different. So I can give you an example. I would say that if a male colleague of mine had maybe is rigid, maybe is difficult to deal with, high maintenance, what we call difficult person, they will not be seen, male colleagues will not be seen as rigid and inflexible. However, women are very quickly judged, very quickly. And I'm not saying that in a way that actually, I'm not addressing a gender conception. I'm addressing an issue that's globally known. It's not in Saudi Arabia. This is a global phenomenon. And I think it's important for both to understand that women at large, there are different ways of perceiving things, of doing things. We talk generalization here, but we definitely talk about, of course, it's generalization, but it's also something that is true, very, very much so. So when you talk about perception of women in leadership, I would say that perception of women in leadership changes when women are given the opportunity to lead. And when women are given the opportunity to lead, they will, just like their male colleagues, they will be in a position to not only educate, not only to be integrated, not only to learn, but also to educate others about how to deal with them. And I think that comes from many different things. So the kingdom has taken big steps towards women integration, right? So first, the perception, the misconception is there, and it's definitely a misconception that is true, very much so. Secondly, how do we address that misconception? Is it fair to say that every man thinks of women this way? Is it fair to say that all women are this way? Is it fair to say that this is just how things are? The answer is no, 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 because there are supporting groups, and we always look for the male counterpart to support. It's a definite role for women to support their women colleagues, for women in leadership to support other women, but definitely there is a role for males to support females. I often speak of not a mentor necessarily, but a champion. And women need to have champions in the workplace. People who actually say, but you know what? We have two candidates, one of them, based on merit, of course, one of them male and one is female. So that champion, the person who identifies the females, is an important part of the equation. Women integration, women equality is a big deal. Guys, it's a big deal because not because we want it, not because it's just something fun to have or we want to show the world, because it's important for the economy. It's important for the economy. It's an imperative for us to follow. It's good. It's the good thing to do as well. You have educated people, you have educated females, but also you have women who can actually aspire to support the kingdom, aspire to support our own mission, to support their male colleagues. So going back to the question before going too much on tangent, yes, perceptions are there. The way to treat it is to give the opportunity. This is what's happening in the kingdom, is to give the opportunity to females, which is happening, but also to ensure women and men that we are supporting women in their roles, in their activities, when they are in leadership positions.
Now let's switch gears and talk about the youth. Now we have youthful attendees here, both students and professionals, and they are working or studying in a variety of fields. Now, each of them is eager to contribute in sustainability of this country. Now, they work in different fields. How can they find their ways into sustainability in terms of their careers, in terms of their studies?
So في مقولة دائما نقول كل من موقعه. We all, every one of us, from where we stand, will have an impact. From where we are, we will have an impact. We impact if you're impacting one person or impacting your class, if you are if you are a professor or if you're a teacher, or you're impacting your family. Every person has their catchment, their influence, area of influence, and they also have their decisions to make about how to do things. As I said in the beginning of my talk, sustainability is not about the environment only or the resources only. It's about choices. Choices we make that impact systems, that impacts resources, that impacts choices that impact our systems, impact our resources, impact our planet, our precious planet. The one thing that is common to us, our humanity, is very much common to us, and we need to impact that, but definitely we share in a very important thing, which is our precious planet, where we all live and breathe. So every person has their own التحدي نفسه, the same challenge. We can, from our position, make that impact. Sustainability is not for scientists only. It's not only for the research part. It's about each single one of us making a choice to be, as an individual, taking action that will lead to sustainability of our planet. How can we leave the place better than we received it? Leave this earth better, in a shape that's better than we received it. Can we say that about our generation? No, we can't. No, we can't. If humanity has done one thing, is that it has proven that it can quickly destroy ecosystems, destroy species, destroy resources. Can we flip this? Can we turn it around? Yes, we can. And now, not only are we aware, not only are we more educated, not only we have the know-how, but we have the will. As a nation, as individuals, I often say that no other nation in the world has put resources to support a green agenda as the kingdom has. Look at KAUST, and it's an example. Just look at this university. Is such a good example where a nation put resources, significant resources aside to build a university, to look at problems facing humanity, challenges facing the kingdom, but definitely facing humanity at large. No other place has done this. No other place in the world has done this. So definitely, it's every person can have an impact. Every single individual, changing behavior, changing practices, and having this daily challenge. How can I leave this place in a better shape than when I was born? Imagine just your children. if they grow up with these kind of ideas. If they grew up knowing that they're in their own right, as a child, they can have an impact. They can change how the globe is left, how we leave our planet. That's a big ask, but think about the confidence of those people, of those young people, if they know that they can make a difference.
I think the biggest takeaway for me from what you said is that sustainability is not only about science, it's about individual choice. And I couldn't agree more. Now it's time for us to take the questions from the attendees. And please, if you want to ask your question بالعربي, we're happy to take your questions.
السلام عليكم. الله يعطيك العافية دكتور نجاح. Do you want to in Arabic or English? So which language?
اللي يريحك.
Okay. هل تعتقدين ممكن أن نوصل في مراحل متقدمة في السستينابيلتي بدون وجود جهاز حكومي مسؤول عن الليجيسليتيف بارت والمونيتورينج والايفالويتنج للسستينابيلتي؟
لا.
ما نقدر.
لا ما نقدر. As a nation, there are so let me put the answer. خليني أجاوبك بالعربي يمكن أحسن. الإجابة مرة بسيطة جدا. المعادلة ما هي لا حكومة ولا أفراد. المعادلة جميع أعضاء النظام يشتغلوا مع بعض. فعشان كده كانت إجابتي عن التحدي الأساسي للمملكة إنه الجهات المختلفة والكومبوننتس أو العناصر النظام كلها تعرف دورها في السستينابيلتي، صح؟ بس كمان تتكلم مع بعض وتشتغل مع بعض. فإجابتي بسيطة جدا، إنه عندك أنت إيكو سيستم، عندك نظام متكامل، نظام بيئي متكامل يجب أن تعمل فيه جميع العناصر لتحقيق هدف. القيادة العليا، لما نتكلم عن القيادة العليا للبلاد، لما تحدد أجندة واضحة لعملها، على فكرة كل الطبقات تشتغل لهذه الأجندة. فالقيادة العليا للمملكة وضحت إنه السستينابيلتي أو الاستدامة مهمة لها، مهمة في كل أسبكت من جميع النواحي، مهمة للمملكة. الآن الدور على الجهات الأخرى إنها تقدم عملها لتخدم هذه الأجندة، لتخدم هذه الأهداف للبلد. الجهات المختلفة، أنا أذكر كان عندنا لقاء مع وزارة الاقتصاد والتخطيط قبل فترة بسيطة، يمكن عدة أشهر، وكانوا بيقولوا لنا إنهم مسؤولين عن اثنين من الأهداف الاستدامة، الSDGs، مسؤولين عن الكلايمت ومسؤولين عن الجندر انتجريشن. فهم مسؤولين عن انهم يشوفوا القطاعات الاخرى ايش بتعمل، انهم يعملوا القراءات، انهم يشوفوا فين المملكه واصله. يعني فعندنا جهات مسؤوله، ففي جهات مسؤوله على جميع المستويات، في جهات مسؤوله على مستوى فوق الوزارات، في بعض الجهات فوق الوزارات بالنسبه لها الجهات التنفيذيه، وفي جهات مسؤولة كوزارات وهي التي تقدم المراقبة والتخطيط للوزارات الأخرى. ولكن الحراك في المملكة سريع جدا لدرجة أنه رصده لنا إحنا غير يمكن غير يكون سهل، يعني ما يكون سهل، عشان بالفعل المملكة بتتحرك بخطى. ما أقول ده الكلام ببساطة ولا أقوله عشان ألمع صورة ما تحتاج المملكة بتقوم بخطوات غير مسبوقة، ومنها وضع أجهزة، إما كما ذكرت إما أجهزة تخطيطية أو تنفيذية أو حتى أجهزة لرصد البيانات، عشان البيانات بالنسبة لنا تحدي كبير جدا، تحدي رهيب. مين يعرف إيش كاوس بتسوي أو مين إيش بتسوي مدينة كاكس ولا كابسارك، إنك ترصدي إيش بيحصل في المملكة تحدي رهيب. فالعجلة لازم تمشي بحال من الأحوال، ويجب أن تكون ماشية ويوميا يعني عجلتنا كبيرة ضخمة، فإنها تتحرك مسؤولية ضخمة، بس العجلة تحركت. الآن الأشياء الأخرى حوالينها كيف نقدر نساندها جميع الجهات؟ فالإجابة نعم، نحتاج كل عنصر.
If you allow me to add one more thing. أمس كان في البانل كان في ممثل لبرنامج جودة الحياة وممثل لبرنامج تنمية القدرات، وهي من برامج الرؤية، وتكلموا ان كل برنامج من هذه البرامج في كومبوننت مع سستينابيلتي، ماتشنج والسستينابيلتي. بس هنا الكلام ان مين المسؤول؟ ما في احد مسؤول، البرامج موزعه والبرامج تنفذ من قبل عن طريق جهات مختلفه، فما في one entity responsible for sustainability. وهذا اللي يعني اللي هو دم السستينابيلتي ضايع بين القبائل، يعني مو معروف مين المسؤول عنها ومين يحط مؤشرات الKPI ويحاسب عليها. فهذه واحدة من الإيشو اللي أنا أشوفه.
أنا أعتقد إنه هذا الكلام مو صحيح 100%. في تقرير عن السعودي Arabian sustainability Saudi Arabia movement towards sustainability إذا أنا ماني غلطانة، وبيذكر الكي بي آيز وبيذكر الجهات المختلفة اللي مسؤولة عنها. إنك تضع جهة واحدة غير يعني مو بالضرورة الطريقة الصح، بس هو واحدة من النماذج، هي أحد النماذج يعني. وإحنا عندنا طبعا الجهة العليا موجودة إيش هي، ولكن واحد من هذه النماذج إنك أنت تضع جهة واحدة. أعتقد إنه السستينابيلتي وطريقتنا في التعامل معها ما هي موضة تيجي اليوم ونراقب إيش صاير فيها. تغيير حياة، تغيير سلوكيات، تغيير نظرة إنسان لنفسه في المجتمع، ونظرة قطاعات لنفسها وإيش بتعمل في مجتمعاتها. يعني قطاع زينا إحنا لو نبغى نقول طب خلاص نبغى نصير إحنا زيرو ويست باي 2030 مثلا، إيش معناها؟ مكيفاتنا نعيد النظر فيها، سياراتنا نعيد النظر فيها، فمعناها تبني الجهات. فأنا أعتقد إنه يجب أن يكون على مستوى الجراس روت وعلى مستوى جهات أخرى، بس إنه يكون enforced على يعني مباشرة. هذا مو صحيح. قد يأتي الانفورسمنت at a later stage عشان أنت تبغى تغير السلوكيات وتبغى تغير الوعي وتبغى تغير درجة الفهم والتأقلم للمجتمع يعني. وبعدين عاد تدخل في عملية الأشياء اللي دخلت فيها الدول العظمى يعني، من السستينابيلتي تاكس، من عاد يبدأوا ساعتها يفرضوا اللي هي الصرامة في التنفيذ. ولكن إحنا في مرحلة مختلفة تماما، ومرحلة شعب متعاطف عشان كله يوث، والدولة بتضع خطة فظيعة للتحول الوطني، خطة عميقة وواسعة شاملة للتحول الوطني. فبتدخل السستينابيلتي في كل ايش او الاستدامة في كل اسبكت منها. ولكن برضو انصح بقراءة الريبورت اللي هو بينظر للمملكة، او التقرير اللي بينظر للمملكة من جميع النواحي، عشان لا تنسى عشان نغير احنا موقعنا في التصنيف يجب أن يكون في جهة مسؤولة عن التصنيف. والجهة المسؤولة عن التصنيف معناها الجهة اللي بتدعو اللي بتنظر للجهات المختلفة وبتشوف دورها في التصنيف. ولا تنسى إنه وزارة التخطيط برضو لها دور في هذا الشيء عادة. شكرا لك. شكرا.
بس ناخذ سؤال الأخت الموجودة هنا ونقدر نختم.
أوكي. السلام عليكم. اسمي صفاء المنيدي. تكلمت عن تمكين المرأة في مجال العمل والتعليم، وأنا أشوف أن المملكة العربية السعودية متقدمة في هذا المجال. بس المشكلة بالنسبة لنا مش الفرص للمرأة، إنه كيف إحنا في بيئة العمل نشتغل مع باختلاف الجندر واختلاف التفكير. ففي بيئة العمل لما أشتغل مع الجنس الآخر كيف نشتغل رغم اختلافنا وطريقة تفكيرنا وتعايشنا مع بعض. فبالنسبة لي هذه المشكلة وهذه الجاب اللي أنا أشوفها حاليا في السعودية.
النقطتين. النقطة الأولى طبعا الدولة بتضع يعني مجهود جبار لتمكين المرأة. هل إحنا وصلنا؟ لا، بشرك لا.
أيوة
قدامنا مشوار طويل لسه. تقريبا في كل خانة من الخانات إحنا أقل دولة من بين الدول العشرين من ناحية تمكين المرأة. فقدامنا مشوار. الله يعين القيادة، عشان القيادة بتدف، ويمكن الريزيستنس جاي من مكان يعني يمكن لسه المجتمع ما وصل لدي المرحلة، أو القطاعات التوظيفية ما وصلت لدي المرحلة. عشان تمكين المرأة يتطلب إنشاء أنظمة مساعدة للمرأة في أثناء تمكينها أثناء عملها. النظام اللي يساعد المرأة معناه نظام لحضانة الأطفال. في جهات معينة بدأت في تمكين المرأة، سألتهم عندكم حضانة أطفال؟ قالوا نعم. قلت لا ما عندكم، أنا عارفة ما عندكم. بعدين طلع عندهم حضانة أطفال لدكاترتهم اللي في الجامعة، عشان يعني قصة ما في علاقة للطالبات. تمكين المرأة للطالبات وللأعضاء هيئة التدريس. فأبسطها إنك توجد الأنظمة لتساعد المرأة من أداء عملها، من تمكينها يعني. العملية التعايش احنا نسميها جندر انتجريشن، نسميها انه هو تمازج يعني انتجريشن، تدخل الاثنين يعني عارفه تبغي ميلز وفيميلز انتجريشن. هذه طبعا اكيد من التحديات الكبيره جدا للاثنين. لفتره طويله كنت اقول كانت مداخلاتي لفتره طويله قبل الترانسفورميشن اللي صارت في المملكه، انه مشكلتنا مو مشكله انه الرجال في المملكه العربيه السعوديه ما يبغوا السيدات يشتغلوا، انهم ما يعرفوا كيف يخلوهم يشتغلوا معاهم. ما عنده مشكله تشتغل بس ما يعرف كيف يتعامل معه. ونفس الشيء للسيده. فكلامك صحيح 100%. انا ما اتكلم عن التعامل انه نتكلم مع بعض، انه نتعامل اني اعطيها تقييم اداء، تعطيني تقييم اداء، تاخذ مشوار لين تكون السيده هي الرئيسه، وهي اللي بتتعلق، وهي اللي بتعطي اوامرها، وهي اللي بتعطي عارفه بتعطي الخطه اللي التانيين عليهم طاعتها. يعني ياخذ ولا يزال هذا المشوار قائم. ونفس الشيء بالنسبه للرجال. فاحنا دائما نتكلم عن negotiating a third space، إن عادة نفاوض لمنطقة ثالثة، لا هي منطقة النساء ولا هي منطقة الرجال. المفاوضة للحصول على منطقة داعمة للطرفين، وهذه من المهارات اللي نعلمها في القيادة، من المهارات اللي نعلمها للسيدات في بداية مشوارهم وللرجال في بداية مشوارهم. ما هي حصر على جندر واحد، في الواقع ما حينجح هذا الشيء إلا وجود الطرفين يساهموا للإنجاح. عشان على فكرة زي ما قلت سابقا، وجود المرأة في سوق العمل احتياج أساسي، احتياج لنا. في كلمة يعني شهيرة لسمو ولي العهد إنه 50% من مجتمعنا سيدات، ولا نريد أن يكون 50% من مجتمعنا عاطل. بسيطة جدا المعادلة، ما تبغي 50% من مجتمعك عاطل، ما تبغي يدك واحدة من الأيادي بس تشتغل. المعادلة سهلة جدا، ولكن فعادة تعليم نعلمها من الصغار، من البداية يتعلموها. الحساسيات والتخوف هذا ينشال. فأنت بتتكلمي ردا للسؤال اللي سبق، انه لما تبغى تدخل السستينابيلتي والجندر ايكواليتي تبغى تدخليه على جميع المستويات. ما تقدر تقولي لواحد شخص، لواحده منظمه، لواحد قطاع. لازم كل عناصر الايكو سيستم او النظام البيئي تشتغل مع بعض، ويصير كلنا ايش، يجي الموج ويرفع الجميع معاه، الجميع يرتفع معاه في كل مكان، في كل موقع. احنا هنا لو خرجنا كلنا بتحدي واحد لانفسنا، بنظره لو انت سيده تقولي ايش افضل انا اسوي عشان اساعد زميلي في العمل انه يتعامل معايا افضل، والشخص يقول انا ايش ممكن اسوي عشان اريح زميلتي في العمل. ومو بضروري معناها تقبل بالاخطاء، معناها تقبل احترافي. المفاوضه لمساحه مختلفة يستطيع فيها التعايش جميعنا بطرقنا المختلفة، في التعامل، في التفكير، في التعاطف، في الحديث، بقوتنا وضعفنا، عشان كل جندر له قوته وله ضعفه، كل جندر له نقاط اللي تضيف قيمة للحديث مختلفة عن الجندر الثاني. كيف نقدر ننشئ هذا المكان؟ وأعتقد كلامك صحيح فيه 100%. يجب أن نعمل على إنشاء هذا المكان، ما يجي كده إيش بالصدفة أكسيدنتلي، يجب أن نسعى له، أن نعمل له.
شكرا لك دكتورة نجاح. شكرا، يعطيكم
شكرا
العافية
لكم جميعا.
السلام عليكم.
اعتذر منك، ممكن ناخذ سؤالك بعدين.
طيب الله يسعدك، يعطيك العافيه دكتوره. عندي سؤال بس لو سمحت. طيب حاضر. طيب شكرا. طيب شكرا دكتور.
اي احد عنده سؤال ممكن تجون على جنب وراح نتناول اسئلتكم. شكرا لحضوركم.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Najah. Thank you, Thana. Okay, so now I would like to invite on stage the head of KAUST Sustainability, Dr. Anna Margarita Lacosta, to talk about the new sustainability website at KAUST. Dr. Anna.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I want just to do a very quick, I would say, notice announcement. Very proud to showcase, and I invite you to take a photo and enter our new sustainability website. And why this is important. First of all, it reflects the collective contribution from all the departments at KAUST. If you enter the website, you will see what sustainability means for KAUST. You will see the translation of sustainability in the education, in our research, in innovation, our operations, and our engagement and outreach. A key part of this is the connection with United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and the Vision 2030 from the Kingdom. I invite you all to dive in our website, learn more about what we are doing at KAUST, and make questions. We are here to provide more information, and happy to have all you here at KAUST. And I hope you can see some of the initiatives while you're moving around our campus. Thank you.